with the big Georgia election, the thing they're watching for is whether the Senate changes control. That can only happen if both Republican senators lose tonight. If one is defeated and the other not, it's a moot point. The Republicans still control the Senate. That's something my next guest still wants to see in Republican hands. Steve Moore, the former senior Trump economic advisor, Trumponomics author, much, much more. Very nice human being, too, whether you agree or disagree with him. He's just a genuine gentleman. But, Steve, very good to have you. Happy New Year.
You too.
I'd like to pick apart what's at stake in this battle then. I mean, the markets seem to fear that if Democrats were to take it, and they see things only through the prism of money, which can be admirable sometimes, that this is going to be bad, right? That they envision that the tax cuts that are in place would be reversed. They start seeing more spending and all of that, as if that just magically disappeared during the last few years. But leaving that aside, are there fears of a Democratic Senate, in your eyes, justified?
So, I looked at the evidence of what's happened in the last 60 years or so, Neil, with respect to the stock market in terms of three different scenarios. One is, Republicans control everything in Washington. The second scenario being Democrats control everything in Washington. The third being divided, control of power. And in general, the best scenario for economic growth has been when you've had divided power, when one party doesn't have control of all the levers of power. And so just from the standpoint, and by the way, the worst scenario over the last 50 or 60 years is when Democrats have control of all the levers of power. So I would think the historical record is pretty clear on this, that a Democrat sweep tonight would be bad for markets. I think the markets would drop by 1,000 points or so, the Dow, if that happened. I don't think it's going to happen, but sure could. These races are looking pretty close. The other thing to look at is, people are calling this, Neil, the $2 to $3 trillion Senate races. And that's because I do believe that if the Democrats win these two races, they will feel that they have a mandate from voters to move forward with a pretty left agenda. And that will start with a big, big stimulus plan in January.
There is the possibility that stocks that have not been part of this huge rally, like value stocks, could do well under a Biden administration. There are others who argue clean air-related stocks could do well. I don't know enough to offset what would be a hammering in some of the others. Your quick thoughts.
That's a little bit beyond my pay grade about what stocks would do well and which wouldn't do well. I would say this, though, that look at the possibility of that big tax increase. That raises, as you've reported, it raises the capital gains tax, it raises the business tax rate, the corporate tax rate, the dividend tax rate. Neil, that's got to be negative for stocks, right? I mean, if you're making, if the government's taking away more of the profits, that means there's less profits available for the shareholders, and you would think that the markets would anticipate that, and there would be a bit of a sell-off. I'm not predicting Armageddon. I'm just saying that on balance, it would be a negative.
All conjecture. All right. Thank you very much for that, Steve Moore.